Hello everybody, my name is Deku Games, and welcome to South Scrimshaw, Chapter 3, Departing. Last time we got through the first two chapters, and this time around we're going to get through the last two chapters of Part 1, because there's only Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 so far currently out. I've seen a little bit of the devlogs and some of the other updates that are saying that they're making quick progress with the rest of this, and I can't wait for the rest of this to come out. It is so fascinating. It is so... the best way I can put it is like intellectual. It's so interesting. And I kind of can't get enough of it.
This is a simplified map of the local ocean topography. The deep blue represents a fault line, the planetary scar where two tectonic plates meet. As with Earth, this
Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
the planet-shaping force of subduction pushed ground up above the sea. Creating what is now named the Chartreuse Archipelago.
Chartreuse Archipelago. Okay. That do look like an archipelago.
The island chain runs for about 870 kilometers, drawing a ragged line away from the continent.
Interesting. That's pretty big. Oh, right
These
here.
names
Right
were
here.
given by an early survey team assessing the grounds for a harbour or
Steeple
research
Island.
outpost.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Could there be potentially 6 like games just talking about like the local wildlife of just those parts of the Chartreuse Archipelago?
The island chain runs
That'd
for
be
about
cool.
8. These names were given by an early survey team assessing the grounds for a harbour or research outpost. The body of water created between the Scrimshaw Islands is
Pithalo
known
Bay.
as the Thalo Bay.
Thalo Bay. Okay, I thought it was Pithalo. Well, if they're going on the whole like pseudo-Latin, then yeah, it would be Thalo.
The large inlet is exactly what a brillo whale breeding ground requires.
Regarding brillo carving, the most important feature of the bay is the chemical composition and concentration of fungal spores. For now, we will limit our discussion to the choreography of the breeding ground. Three separate herds converged this year to give birth simultaneously. The dots estimate their prior positions.
And now they're all here.
Not all brillos make this trek every year, but many more whales assist besides parents. Pregnant whales move into the centre, where they maintain as much distance from one another as possible.
It'd be really interesting to see that because it would look like just a bunch of like biomass just everywhere. It wouldn't look like whales because of the way of the symbiotic relationship with brillos.
Perhaps due to the unpredictable anatomy of their fellow brillos, or a vulnerability in the skin of the newborns, calves are kept segregated from all others for the first months of their life.
Interesting.
The remaining herd forms a blockade at the mouth of the bay, while the pregnant whales deliver.
Ooh.
As weeks pass, hunger and distraction start to erode focus on this task. The amount of time that the herd can wait is finite.
And then they'll go back
When the
out.
time comes, all leave together at once, moving with the safety of numbers. Their destination will be one of several coral reefs.
Just a giant fuck off size herd of giant whales.
Those
24
unable to
left.
move on time
5.
must be abandoned.
Huh.
The healthy cannot hazard everyone's odds of survival for the sake of a few infirm. Our mother, wounded as she is one of several this year who befell this fate.
That's what I figured. Thalo Bay.
Outside of that season, the whales live elsewhere. Usually they are found at coral reefs and
wonder
areas
what these
more
coral
productive
reefs look
with
like.
food. Brillows
they're
require a very
any
high
similar
calorie
to
diet.
like Terran, I guess you could say, like Earth. Earth reefs at all? Is that us?
We now find our whales here, at the border to the Great Vathis Ocean.
Ooh, Bathies.
It is a bright day in early autumn. An unseasonable cold front chills the air.
You know, honestly, that actually kind of makes sense if they're in the quote-unquote Goldilocks zone and in orbit around the star, that they would probably have a similar season cycle to Earth, especially with high water, and that would mean a lot of wind movement, especially if they have something like a decent-sized satellite near them affecting currents on the surface.
Below the surface, we find our mother bracing for the journey.
So cool.
Judging by her mobility, her health has much improved. The delay is likely not related to her recovering wounds. The distance between the Tharlo Bay and the southern reef is inhabited by many large predators.
Ooh.
Many Brillo calves are taken in these waters.
Wonder what the predators are. Probably probably omnivorous, because they would be eating not only the fat and the meat of the Brillo, but also the vegetation that's symbiotically connected to them.
Her loud songs are searching for another Brillo's response. She has been making these calls since before dawn. She does not want to make this journey alone.
So interesting thinking about like how animals communicate and how they call a lot, and it's not very close to how humans speak, where it's a form of self-expression. It's similar, but very interesting.
The calf returns with a fresh lungful of oxygen.
Time to feed. Oh. Mama, I'm hungry.
And quickly retreats back to the bramble under his mother. For once, he does not need to be told to stay close. Undoubtedly, he can also read the change in his mother's behavior.
Bug.
And the unfamiliar place ahead is deeper and colder.
I wonder how big these Brillo whales are. Because they could be anywhere from maybe a few meters long to larger than blue whales or sperm whales. That also means that these fucking bugs are huge too, because of just how much bramble there is and how large the bramble is.
Faintly at first, a new sound reaches them. His mother startles. They both listen. It's another whale.
Ooh, time to see a cool design.
A Brillo whale, and it is getting nearer.
Ooh.
Our mother booms a reply back. The calf's curious nature starts to show itself again. He has yet to meet a Brillo besides his mother. There. He spots something. A large body begins to emerge from the hazy distance. It continues to approach, but the calf still can't quite understand what he's looking at. The calf's curiosity morphs into discomfort the closer it gets. Discomfort turns into outright alarm.
Oh.
He pleads to his mother in distress. She rebukes him in reply, as if to say, "Don't be rude to the new neighbors."
Oh. So it's not just calling, it's actual communication.
One cannot blame him for his confusion. This Brillo whale's appearance was shaped to be deceptive.
That's cool. That's awesome. Using the skulls of other animals or to give that illusion to being a big predator. And there they are right there, I'm imagining.
It is a beautiful and ghastly example of mimicry.
Kind of like the stone dog.
The way the jaws gently undulate is startlingly believable. The grim exterior is the work of an important symbiotic partner.
Oh.
The weaver lobe.
Okay, yeah. I saw that and I was like, is it going to be something that like takes carcasses and basically stitches it into the Brillo?
These prodigious builders turn their colonies into terrifying scarecrows by spinning and sculpting ossamer.
Ossoma is a long-chain polymer found in great abundance here. It is totally novel to our researchers.
Oh.
When soft,
That's cool.
it is similar in texture to a neoprene diving suit. Through a curing process, it can be hardened to various levels.
Interesting. It's almost like a novel form of
In
clay.
its stiffest state, it resembles the chitin shell of a beetle.
I say chitin, but
A second documentary team is currently compiling all of the latest discoveries.
second documentary team.
Building bugs. This multi-part series will focus exclusively on the insect world, which sees far more divergent evolution from Earth species than vertebrates. The title refers.
Are we
both
gonna
to
watch an
insects
entire,
that
like,
habitats
tangent,
and the
30-minute long
evolutionary
thing
process
just for
which
this?
constructed such
Oh shit, never mind. Okay.
Until then, we hope our simple introduction to this material suffices.
Very interesting.
Water is channeled through the layered construction, swelling and emptying various pockets, creating animal-like locomotion. Our resident weaver lobe expert insists that the beastly facade before us here should have taken many decades to complete.
Many decades to complete.
It also seems unlikely that it was built from scratch on the whale's back. Perhaps if weaver lobes are able to relocate such structures, an established colony was simply carried on to the Brillo's back.
Oh. That'd be interesting.
Such a fearsome appearance does much to ward off predators. The reversed head may also help to confuse prey. We do not know why she was left behind, but this Brillo is a valuable addition to the ocean crossing.
Oh, another.
She too is a mother, looking to deliver her child to safety.
That's very interesting. So that kind of like makes me wonder just what all the Brillos look like. Just how different all the ecosystems would look.
It seems that all Brillo calves are quite shy around new acquaintances. Our calf growls to himself. Scoldings are unlikely to budge his unwelcoming attitude. Nor will the surprise of additional friends. The calf was so distracted by what was in front of him that he failed to notice.
A second. Ooh.
She's something like a faceless stone golem. The exterior is more bizarre than menacing.
Let me get back to
But
this
he
one.
failed to notice what was swimming up from behind. She's something like a faceless stone golem. The exterior
Or another
is more
mother.
bizarre than menacing.
I guess we could call this mother.
It might serve as some kind of armor, but our crew is at a loss to describe it on first sight. Like our Brillo mother, this whale may also have some kind of internal injury. She is only able to produce short, abrupt honks instead of complex songs.
I wonder if that's due to the like muffling. It might even be like a form of
She is
self-expression.
also a mother. Regardless of what benefit her exterior provides, her presence alone will help contribute to a safe crossing.
Interesting.
Flanked by these strangers, our calf seems very disturbed. New experiences may be uncomfortable now, but they will lead him to understand the Brillo way.
The Brillo way.
His mother jolts him forward with a shove of her branches. It is unlikely that more companions will show up, and there is no time left to delay. All following her lead, the 6 whales head out into the ocean to find their lost herd.
Is that the end of chapter 3?
The pod is now 57 kilometers from the Great Southern Reef. This is the final leg of their journey, and their path crosses over a wide abyssal trench.
Careful, we might find a phantom leviathan.
The parent whales set the pace at a rigorous 6 kilometers an hour. They swim in a typical defensive formation, though with only 3 adults, it is not possible to fully encircle the youths.
Form like a triangle, kind of like what they're doing here. Does enough.
The trek has been arduous for our little calf, but he has endured it with admirable stoicism.
Don't be too stoic now.
Slowing down is not an option. He is able to sense this himself. Something large has been following the whales.
Oh, it kind of looks like a barracuda.
It first appeared in the early afternoon and has maintained the same steady distance ever since.
That's a predator for sure.
Hours passed and the mysterious animal failed to approach or make any concerning moves.
Could be passive.
The calf's fear of the unknown was slowly overtaken again by interest in his new Brillo companions. The stony-skinned mother whale and her calf now swim to his left flank. This calf was whining earlier, but seems to have calmed. The stony mother's outer surface has slowly morphed shape throughout the day, greatly reducing in size. It is as if the exterior nodules are deflating. What mechanism triggers this change or how they shrink, we do not know.
Maybe just something filling up on the inside and then deflating over time. Maybe it's clay that's being like eroded due to fast pace, and now she would have to put more on her. Kind of rub up into a bank of osmos.
Overall,
Osmium?
she is slightly more streamlined in form than earlier. Perhaps she can intentionally contract her shell for extra mobility.
Ooh, perhaps.
Our calf doesn't know what to make of her either. Below him swim the mimic mother whale and her calf, along with one of our semi-autonomous light drones.
Oh, so these are legit cameras filming these creatures. Very interesting.
Since the autonomous side of this semi-autonomous drone has chosen to enter frame and spoil the shot, this seems an appropriate moment to talk about some of the machines used in South Scrimshaw's production.
Yes, please.
Almost all of our remote-operated vehicles, ROVs, are surplus from the Pacification War.
Pacification War.
When the self-appointed International Coalition declared Earth's intention to globally adopt the doctrine of resistance, they provoked the construction of a war drone fleet. An army of multi-purpose and single-purpose robots was fabricated in less than 5 days. Due to the brevity of the conflict, limited mostly between Earth factions, and the eventual unconditional capitulation offered, almost none of these war machines saw deployment. Today, all can agree that avoiding a protracted land invasion or an apocalyptic scenario such as kinetic bombardment was a necessity. Today, these robots represent progress and optimism instead of death and coercion. Their strike platforms decommissioned and AI reprogrammed, they are now tools of education and discovery.
That's very cool. It kind of, weirdly enough, it kind of reminds me of how in Star Trek, they basically went Mad Max first before going Star Trek, where everything, and then afterwards things were kind of repurposed and reused for like a bigger age of discovery and so on. Oh shit. Declassified schematic illustrates just one of the wonderful drones at our disposal. Interesting. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is neat. Ooh. I love it. I love this because one thing that I always like whenever people really go really in depth into lore is like doing blueprints and schematics of shit. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay. Ooh, so it's kind of like a basset tank. Ooh. Steering nozzle. Okay. How big is this? Could be this big. It could be like this big. Retro incubator. Okay. Horsefly weapon platform decommissioned. Interesting. I wonder if this is used for anything. Seawater cooling system. Yeah. Central AI control unit. And there you can see the camera.
We thank the Kronos 7 leadership for their continued logistical support of our project.
Yeah, thank you, Kronos 7. There's like
Swimming
balls
upside
of
down
light.
is the most uncomfortable spot for a Brillo, and the Mimic Mother refused to take her turn until minutes ago.
Turtle.
Her stubbornness may not be entirely unreasonable. While upside down, her disguise as a wide-jawed monster appears to fall apart. The illusion of a toothy beast is currently broken. Our calf gets a reassuring hum from his mother. This always seems to quell his unease. He is safe within her nest of thorns. He must focus on swimming. But it's hard to ignore that ominous thing in the distance.
Yep.
This is a penumbra shark. It is the fastest marine animal on the planet.
Ooh. How fast? How fast are we talking? We talking like sailfish fast, or...?
For the penumbra, 6 kilometers an hour is a leisurely pace. It could comfortably stalk the whales days on end.
Wow.
An apex hunter, patient with experience, it will preserve all possible energy for an opportune strike. Very much like a sailfish, penumbra sharks have a large dorsal fin along their back. This is kept retracted until the moment of attack.
Like right now.
With several flicks of the tail, it vanishes from sight. Panic overtakes the whales and the defensive formation immediately breaks apart. Our calf looks down.
Oh, it's going to be right there.
The Mimic Mother has abandoned her post.
Straight up into the mother.
Nothing stands between our calf and the open abyss below.
Ooh.
The fight or flight reaction is as intense as it is instantaneous. A full threat alarm floods from the hypothalamus, shooting through every nerve and chemical pathway. Adrenaline pumps into the blood. The perception of time dilates. Details of the world suddenly stand out with vivid intensity. Even in this low light, 2 rows of white teeth are searingly clear. The calf finds his own fins now move in slow motion too. Seawater suddenly feels solid, suspending him in place. Trapped in harm's way, he can only watch the events unfold, until a tremble runs through the thorns surrounding him.
There has to be some sort of protective thing nearby.
The mother's branches are held under tension and can be released with the force of a catapult.
Really?
She flexes. Cords snap. And in an instant the calf is swaddled in protective barbs and makeshift spears. The shark senses the change and shifts the attack to the stone mother's calf, who is exposed and helpless. Our calf momentarily loses consciousness, but the barbed vines around him act as a net. his mother whisks him away with her. As our calf comes to again, he finds an awful scent filling the water.
Oh no.
He looks back to see what happened to his travel companion. The sight horrifies. It is the reality of predation from the perspective of the prey. Because of his mother, our calf is the survivor, and not the cautionary example for others to learn from.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Is that oh, I thought it was just like the head floating.
Less than 20 kilometers remain until the reef and the safety of their Brillo herd. The mimic mother races
Should
ahead,
be able to get there maybe
leaving the weaker whales to their fate.
an hour.
The stone mother lags behind. Her movements are confused. She is still in a state of shock over the death of her child.
Shit, I would be too.
Our calf struggles to follow. It is much harder to swim outside of a larger whale's slipstream. And his mother is falling far behind again.
Why?
He races back to be by her side. The calf has been running ahead of her sight and then returning. The back and forth seem to coax his mother a little further each time. But now her strength has failed. She cannot even lift her fins in response.
Oh no.
Her old wounds were opened by the physical exertion to save her child's life.
Oh no.
She will not recover. He whistles the familiar call to play. There is no more response. She has finally slipped from consciousness. She cannot remain with her calf any longer.
Wow.
He continues to press for a reaction. Desperation compounds the grief. At this age, calves are completely dependent on a mother's milk and protection. With nowhere to go, the calf remains at her side. The research team witnesses the mother's final pulses of electrical activity fade and extinguish.
Wow. Wow. That is traumatic.
There is a long pause. Two researchers start a heated discussion on the ethics of intervention.
If this is the first time, I'd say no, don't. Just watch, because you could see something more happen, but if this was something like Earth, yeah, go ahead.
But before any consensus is reached, the argument is interrupted by a low rumble over the hydrophone.
Is it another Brillo?
The stone mother never left the area. She watches our calf from a distance.
Oh, they're going to get adopted.
A new day begins to dawn over the coral reef. Brillo whales start to stir from slumber.
Very cool.
Together, the stone mother and our calf have arrived safely.
Ah.
Though physically and emotionally depleted, neither has found any sleep. The calf gorges on milk, famished from the previous day's ordeal. This adoption in the wild may be extraordinary to witness happen, but acts of apparent generosity have not been an uncommon sight to anyone following this intensely social species.
Makes sense, yeah.
The stone mother's exterior appears to now be fully deflated. We can see a more familiar shape underneath. It's the outline of a young female whale, quite small in size for an adult specimen.
Oh, so it is to make
She
her
has
seem
saved our calf
bigger.
from certain death. Perhaps our calf is helping her continue on too. The young whale finally slumbers. It is good that he takes the moment to recover while he can. He will need the rest. In the morning, he will awaken to an overwhelming new world.
I'd imagine. Chapter 4. All right. Patterns. Let's keep going. Let's finish this.
The miracle of Brillos is not that other creatures can live inside the whales. This sort of arrangement is not uncommon. You, the viewing audience, have countless residents inside your own body.
Like I was talking about before.
An adult human is composed of approximately 30 trillion cells.
Mm-hmm.
An estimated additional 39 trillion microbial cells, bacteria, viruses and fungi live on and in the average person's body. Medical science has long understood the importance of the microorganisms within us and the role they play in good health. Interplanetary travel has elevated this research to the forefront of medicine.
Makes sense.
Alien atmospheres are a soup of microorganisms that Earth-raised animals have never encountered before.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
To the globe-hopping human, the radical change of biome is first felt in the gut.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, yeah.
Known as planetary dysbiosis, arrival sickness, or simply the drags, all off-world-born humans experience an immobilizing nausea soon after entering the new atmosphere. Even with the year-long acclimation program one undergoes in low orbit, the drags cannot be eliminated. Arrival procedure for all travellers includes a period of convalescence at Mercy Star Hospital. Dysbiosis symptoms last anywhere from 14 days to 6 weeks. The worst documented cases persisted for over a year and required intensive care.
Shit, get me off this fucking planet.
Limnologist and Ranger First Class Maria Ukichiro. Her 25-day recovery is documented as routine.
Interesting.
In a message to Kronos Earth Branch cadets, RFC Ukichiro warns, "The initial headaches are too intense to get up and go to the bathroom. In the beginning, you'll mostly suffer on a bedpan. When food isn't coming up or out, you're forcing down a prescribed diet heavy in probiotics."
Makes sense.
I do mean forcing. The doctors require you to eat certain amounts every day, no matter how nauseated it makes you. Don't think that the kind nurses will let you skip meals either. Your spoon or their tube. Only thing you get to decide.
I'd probably take both.
The cuisine here is dominated by fermented and preserved foods. You can blame the past shortage of home refrigeration, state of the grid, whatever. Point is, when you inevitably smell yogurt or sauerkraut later, you'll feel violently ill and want to die. Every off-worlder goes through that. You'll get over it. See you soon, rookies.
That is very interesting. That's very, very cool.
The miracle of Brillo whales is their ability to pick and choose their occupants.
That was one thing that I was really interested in. I was like, are they actually picking and choosing?
Our whale will now begin this process of selection.
Oh, this
Providing a backdrop for the next chapter is another amazing marine animal whose colourful anatomy can construct whole ecosystems. Our Earth audience will find it a familiar species.
Oh? Shrimp.
It is the reef-building coral.
Oh.
A bikini fish gently picks her way along a mountainous path of calcium carbonate exoskeletons.
So not really reefs, but technically reefs, because these look like reefs, but aren't reefs? Is that sort of what we're getting at?
It's her daily prowl for food, and something tasty has her attention.
A cat.
Bite-sized greebles are entrenched in the nooks below. It'll take her quite a bit of work to pry them out. As the bikini calculates the best approach of attack, her preparations are interrupted. She joins the other fish fleeing for their lives. A higher caste of the food chain steals the scene.
Hello. What are you, Mr. Cambrian Explosion?
It's a spotted barnacle claw.
Oh.
One powerful yank extracts the entire colony hiding below. The host willow whale groans with dissatisfaction. This isn't a meal fit for a leviathan. They will continue browsing for something more substantial. Our whale watches the drama unfold from a safe distance, somewhat perplexed.
Seems like, are they white or are they like spotted? Kind of looks like they're developing.
In the 6 years since we last rejoined him, the Great Reef has not run short of new surprises.
6 years.
From near and far, one can hear the calls of unknown brillows bounding off these cavernous walls.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
At least he still has someone familiar to rely on.
Is it the Stone Mother?
His adoptive mother is usually out of sight, but never too far away. She has changed quite a great deal since we last saw her.
Yeah, clearly. So they change over time. Basically like adopting new
Perhaps
outfits and
in response
stuff.
to the Penumbra shark attack, she has undergone a zealous application of eye spots to her figure.
Yeah.
While not as outwardly apparent, our young whale's body has undergone an even more radical change. His skin layers and immune system have fully developed and are ready to host other species. This dermatological puberty is the crossroad.
I wonder if there are any Brillo whales out there that don't have a lot, or any at all. In terms of like,
he must decide what sort of Brillo
symbiotic relationship.
How does a young whale make such a crucial decision?
Can we choose?
The choices are overwhelming, the combinations are infinite, and mistakes are fatal. One way to ensure future success is to replicate past success. Brillo youths find a welcoming adult and attempt to fashion themselves in their likeness.
So this Brillo will probably try and take over its first mother and a combination of its adoptive mother.
The older whale assists with offerings of seeds, eggs, larvae, and other materials needed to begin the garden. The younger whale remains close for the years after, learning new behavior from the adult.
Basically having a bunch of mentors.
Not every option available to a young whale is desirable. This old-timer is welcoming, but our whale is visibly uncomfortable. It isn't hard to imagine why. But on the other hand, another young Brillo might happily accept this body plan.
Maybe.
What shapes such individual preference? Realistically, there are far too many influences to chart, but from our limited data, there is one factor that stands out. We estimate that half of Brillos choose to replicate their own mothers.
Yep.
Our whale displays this preference towards his biological mother. These ribbon plants are the same variety she once wore. Our calf returns here every day. But it is no use. This Brillo whale is deceased. Nothing but a cleaned skeleton remains beneath the foliage.
Really?
Almost nothing. Our optics technician noticed a strange blip while alternating camera modes. Zooming in and switching to infrared, show an ordinary thermal image. As expected, the plants are close to the ambient ocean temperature, but after several seconds, the intermittent blinking resumes.
It's technology.
This is an older model IR strobe, typically worn attached to the helmet or vest for identification in emergency situations.
Shit, so humans have already caused shit to happen on this planet too.
Upon retrieving the device and referencing the serial number, we can This deceased whale was the first Brillo ever encountered by humans.
But that's so cool. Wow.
The story dates back to the early days of Outpost Zeta's construction.
Outpost Zeta. Outpost last? Okay.
A fishing boat captain ignored an ominous weather forecast and went to sea collecting crab traps. Conditions deteriorated faster than his optimistic assumptions. The boat was smashed by a wave while returning to harbour. In the aftermath, 2 deckhands were found missing. Lodestar 1, a heavy aerial command ship able to withstand the violent winds, took off from Vajrapani Airport to begin the search.
So this planet is fully colonized.
Scanning the rolling wave below, aided by GPS tracker and IR beacons, the two
Or was in the
shipmates
process
were
of
located.
such. Because it was on an outpost.
They were together and clinging for their lives to some unidentified debris.
Yeah, I cannot understand, even the slightest.
The airplane circled in the turbulent sky above, tracking the men until a rescue helicopter could arrive.
Huh.
After further storm-related delays, RRH 307 Kingfisher launched, flying low to keep them from
Kingfisher.
still formidable clouds. The following are archive recordings from that day.
307 Kingfisher.
Go.
307 Kingfisher. We've updated your arrival coordinates. Confirm you've received.
Loads.
Solid copy, Lodestar.
Zero.
Received. Briefing said our guys were hiding in a cave. Was there a PIW?
Negative. Survivors are inside some kind of raft. It's the raft that's now moving.
Roger. Okay, got our eyes on it now. Visual on the survivor, Captain.
Altitude. Altitude.
I see him. Gonna bring it close as I can. Our guy won't be swimming far with these waves.
Altitude. Altitude.
Copy that. Almost directly over him. Forward 15 feet. Hold. Holding. Rescue diver's checklist complete. Sending him down. He's in. Video link is live.
Can't wait to hear these humans' reactions to
Heads up, Kingfisher. A couple
Brillo.
big waves are headed your way. About 20 seconds.
Copy. I think he'll make it to the raft before the swell hits.
10 seconds.
Almost seems like the raft is moving towards us. What the fuck?
Kingfisher? What's your status, Kingfisher? Respond.
Yeah, everyone's all alive for now. If it was gonna eat him, it would have done it already, right? Let's get them in the chopper before we find out. There's another one.
So they are real
Correct.
big.
Lodestar, any thoughts?
Felix, I don't think there's any protocol for this in the handbook.
Cap, hold steady for a moment. I think they're coming to us. Hey, can we keep him, Dad? If you want to see Monster, then you'll have to feed and walk yourself. Oh, shucks, you think I'm not old enough to care for a pet? Diver's headed back down, making rescue in progress.
Very cool.
307 Kingfisher. Lodestar is peeling off. Good work down there.
Much obliged, Lodestar. We'll include you in the highlight reel.
Thanks. Hey, and CC that footage to the bio nerds too. I bet they flip.
The bio-nerds, here referring to scientists of Station Zeta Laboratories, soon received copies of this material.
I mean, if this was in the process of only Outpost, I'd imagine that everyone here has some sort of scientific background.
They did indeed flip.
Wow.
While it is interesting that the garden can partially survive on, none of it can be transferred without the living adult to help.
Wow. That's a really good piece of storytelling. Bringing it back around to our calf here. Oh.
Our whale must find comfort in the familiar scent and touch.
Yeah.
However, time spent on what he cannot have is time wasted. Waiting too long to start a garden could bring other health complications.
Oh?
He will have to move on. Our whale goes on a search for another plant-based Brillo. For reasons unknown, such Brillos are conspicuously absent this season. It seems as if anything resembling his mother has migrated elsewhere. One single exception is discovered.
A unicorn.
He is a spectacular example of aquatic foliage. The shaggy coat is as full and beautiful as the late mother's. But not all Brillos are welcoming. Day after day, he tries to draw the adult into play, and day after day receives the cold shoulder. The adult flatly refuses to acknowledge his existence.
Damn.
This male has tunnel vision on the single purpose of mating. Babysitting is not on the agenda.
Fucking dudes, man.
We watch an attempt to woo a female fail pitifully. She is clearly put off by his little sidekick, tugging roughly on his leaves.
Gets a smack, right?
Days of pent-up agitation are suddenly unloaded. Our whale is chased off at the point of a skewer.
So this one can actually...
It may feel like a painful sacrifice, but a plant body is not an option. There's a dizzying amount of other choices remaining, and one of them will have to do.
Taking after both, probably.
Another morning dawns.
I keep clicking my left mouse. Or right mouse.
The nocturnal animals have returned to slumber, and the frantic energy of diurnal animals resumes. For our researchers, every day following the whale is a journey into an uncharted wilderness.
Yeah, constantly having new species discovered would be fantastic.
Only a small fraction of the species here have been recorded. And there is so much inexplicable behavior to document.
A feast happening. I keep hitting it.
Recent discoveries have centered on the varieties of coral present. The reef itself is now understood to be a multi-layered structure.
The Great Southern Reef is a fringing reef. The inhabitants can be categorized into 3 zones based on depth. The unique character of the Southern Reef is owed to the spire coral, which lives across all 3 of these zones.
It's so interesting to imagine how different
Spire
all
coral
of
can survive at
these
the lowest
species
depths,
are,
where it faces little competition.
but also how familiar they are. I mean, look at the eel. It looked like an eel. Look at the whales. They look like whales. But if you were to take a
Once
deep
fixed
look,
to solid ground, spire coral stack atop one another, upwards towards the sunlight that will fuel more productive respiration.
it's just one of those things that it's so fascinating to think about.
Shallow water corals soon find these raised platform and perch themselves upon it.
Creating another
This is not a cooperative
fringe.
relationship. The spire coral is eventually smothered and dies.
Oh,
Under accumulated weight, the structural integrity is lost, and the spire shatters, collapse back down to lower depths.
and then become... Yep.
Living spire coral can again re-emerge, and the cycle repeats unendingly. This constant tossing and turning creates a porous and dynamic landscape, veined with small tunnels and dotted with caves.
That's cool.
Thousands of small animals make this subterranean environment their niche.
Yeah.
For example, saltwater tadpoles spend their early life stages hidden underground.
Why is it salt water, not potassium water?
Until they can emerge above as a fearsome predator. Relative to their size, that is.
Yeah. Always a bigger fish.
Progress and knowledge march forward through tireless work, but we often share in our young whale's bewilderment. Who is this?
Wow. Gonna mimic the stone mother with all that stone.
What is on his head? What is going on?
Huh?
We do not know. Our whale runs away, and we simply follow. One afternoon,
Imagine
it
having a
seems our
camera
young whale's
chase after
persistent
you.
Searching has been rewarded. A loud song heralds him from the distance.
Stone mother?
A Brillo hunting party returns. Their high spirits means that all had a good kill. The group's leader is calling to our whale.
Hey, kid!
Our youth remains in place but allows the adult to approach. These whales are sophisticated pack hunters.
Wow. With sharks also around them as well.
The Chowper, a stupid but friendly shark, totally accepts the Brillos as their own. Compared to the painful transmogrification other Brillos endure, this silky costume is minimally invasive and provides maximum returns. And it's a plant.
Interesting.
This successful symbiosis strategy is limited only by the pack's willingness to share it with others. An open invitation from the leader is a golden opportunity.
That basically is a combination of both the stone mother and the original mother. A plant.
Something isn't right.
Rock.
Our whale is fixated on the Chowper.
Trauma.
It is a tragedy that our whale seems unable to tolerate sharks of any kind. He flees.
Even
Over
if
the
they're
weeks,
dorks.
we observe our subject whale becoming increasingly distressed.
Huh.
It is critical he suppress unpleasant feelings and adopt a symbiosis plan. A Brillo whale cannot survive unplanted. He can perceive himself failing to integrate, of course, but the building internal agitation is not a force that will help him adapt better. Autumn draws to a close. Several new varieties of Brillo begin to arrive from colder latitudes. These are mostly hunter archetypes who can live a life less dependent on the reef's concentrated bounty.
Ugh.
A camouflaged whale waits for prey to swim near.
Active camouflage or adaptive camouflage
refers to skin coloration that can rapidly shift to match a change in environment using octopuses. Or octopi.
These octopuses have linked
whatever.
their tentacle nerve endings together, allowing them to network visual information between all bodies. Colour change is omnidirectional, instant, and accurate.
Wow.
The swiftness and precision of these changes exceeds any Earth octopus ability. They are not the only example of animals here possessing very advanced skin chromatophores. Researchers hope to understand why they have evolved in more sophisticated fashion than their Earth counterparts. While this documentary is restricted to its limited mandate, we believe in good faith that the following question is unavoidable and must now be answered. Why would a species on another planet have an Earth counterpart?
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
Convergent evolution was the obvious first hypothesis.
I mean, it could also be one of those things like how everything will eventually evolve into a crab. So...
This is the phenomenon where different species can evolve similar features when faced with the same evolutionary pressure. For example, we can find similarities in the wings of unrelated flying vertebrates. Similar problems craft similar solutions.
Yeah.
While this obviously still holds true, it is not the answer to our question. This lizard looks like an Earth chameleon. This whale looks like an Earth whale, because they share a recent common ancestor with Earth animals.
What?
The true answer is directed panspermia.
As in they're
It is
actually
the mark of
related
an educated
to...
mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it, so Aristotle advised us. In that high-minded spirit, we can look back at Francis Crick as one of biology's fearless thinkers. He is best known for his work with James Watson, uncovering the structure of DNA more than a century ago. This earned them and Maurice Wilkins the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1962. He was also uncomfortably acknowledged by 20th century colleagues as a proponent of directed panspermia, that a deliberate extraterrestrial origin to life on Earth should be taken into serious consideration. While Crick's hypothesis fails to match our current best understanding, his unorthodox thinking landed him closer to the truth than any of his contemporaries could have believed.
Another tangent, here we go.
Francis, do you think we were lucky to have solved it? Or was it real brainwork on our part?
Well, I guess we were certainly lucky, and of course you give the impression in your book, Jim, we didn't really do too much thinking, but we were lucky, I think, for two reasons. We were thinking about the problem at the right time, and then the two of us, by collaborating, when one of us got on the wrong track, the other one could get us out of it. When if I thought there were three chains at one stage, you were sure there were two. If you thought that the phosphates had to be in the middle, then I would be the devil's advocate and say put them on the outside. And I think this is very important in solving structures of this kind, because the difficulty is that you've got to give several logical steps, one after the other. If you
It's like rubber
go
ducking.
wrong, you get one person gets
As
too
in
fond of
talking
their
to
own
somebody
ideas.
that's outside of your
I
field
think
just
another
to
thing that would
get
help us in our
untunnel vision.
collaboration was we weren't at least afraid of being very candid to each other to the point of being rude. And if you don't have constant interchange and chatting together and saying what you think of the other people's ideas to their face, I don't think you can solve problems of this kind.
Yes, actually. Absolutely. So, alien intervention from... Are you going to say that there's like maybe bacteria that was from like a space probe from Earth many decades ago that caused a high rate of evolution?
Life on Earth originated on Earth. Abiogenesis took place in deep-sea hydrothermal vents approximately 3.7 billion years ago.
I'm glad that that's the answer that they're going with, because that's what happened, but I'm glad that they're sticking with that for this hypothetical evolution.
Recent history has revealed that 3 other planets also sustain life.
Okay.
Aria, Goz, and Earth 2 are affectionately referred to as sister planets of Earth due to their similarities. But it may be more accurate to call them Earth children. They were barren until intentionally planted from Earth's highly evolved genetic stock. Isolated across light years of space, the forces of evolution then wrought divergent results. Along a different but always familiar timeline, all 3 bloomed into wonderful new cradles of complex life.
But similar to the mother. A big overarching
This
theme.
brief summary does not do justice to the incomprehensibly convoluted and ongoing work of planetary curation.
So they are curating the places. Okay. So a long time ago, I'm guessing they planted shit on these planets and then basically did interbreeding between planetary interstellar curation.
But suffice
Wow.
to say, even the professionals struggle to grasp a simplified understanding.
Was it done on purpose or was it done accidentally? Wow.
This kind of strategy requires a good deal of patience. Our whale, sensing the hunter, swims wide. The camo whale politely hails him. Other Brillo whales aren't the target of his trap. Our whale replies with mistrust and leaves.
Fuck you.
something is wrong. Our whale's once irrepressible curiosity has grown increasingly muted. Even wonders like bioluminescence provokes no reaction. These lamplighter fish are practicing their jousting in preparation for the annual mating competition.
Oh.
The event is soon. It's only a one-night affair, and they will all die immediately afterwards. We think it would be quite the enriching spectacle. But the fish seem to be of no interest. Our research objectives all involve how a planted brillo changes gene expression throughout its life. An unplanted whale is no use to us. There is a fear that our biometric implants have been invested on a losing whale. But before we can discuss contingency plans, our brillo finally begins to break bad habits. This unknown youth has snagged a lamplighter and presents it now to our whale. Perhaps he was enthused to share his catch and our whale happened to be closest. Brillo interactions can be opaque, but these two have clearly hit it off. For once, our whale does not withdraw. He is proactively engaging instead of passively responding. It's a much welcome scene, but it begs the question, what changed? What external factors could have contributed to a more outgoing posture?
Young?
Did our cameras miss a life-changing event? Does this stranger seem less threatening than all the others? It is true that our whale, having been born outside the herd, has consistently lacked peer contact his own age. Young brillos cannot transmit garden organisms between each other, so the interaction here probably feels less fraught than it might with an adult, who could permanently dose him with life-altering symbiosis.
Yeah. He wants to start small. He wants to go slow.
We hypothesize that juvenile brillo association is a necessary prior step to adult interaction. Regardless of how correct this assertion is, it successfully buys our study additional time.
Because they're gardens, they're not just solid things.
The two whales spend the rest of the day playing and are still chasing fish together when we leave them.
And we see that that's kind of what happens is some adult brillos will just have one singular organism with maybe some other stuff. Some of them are complex and so on. And I think he might be chasing the complexity that his mother had, but he's also fearful of what else is going on.
Night falls, but our whale is not asleep. GPS coordinates show he's swimming somewhere. As his aberrant behavior is still under scrutiny, the team moves to investigate. A spotlight is aimed overboard. We discover more than just our whale.
Loch Ness Monster.
He is traveling with a pod of other youths.
Oh.
They all sing with curiosity at the sudden lights shining from above. We cut the power to avoid further disturbance. It's soon clear where the brillos are headed.
I'll have to go drink beer
First
illegally.
glimpses of action appear in the near distance. The night of the lamplighter fish has begun. The ocean starts to flash brilliantly as males battle for the attention of females. The weak are pierced open, spilling bioluminescence into the water. They shine with complete indifference to predators attacking. Known as predator satiation, there are simply too many to all be eaten.
He's now interested in bioluminescence.
His belly full of glowing fish bits, our whale watches the show reach its climax.
And they all fucking die.
It seems like he'll be up all night with the others. Confident in his safety, we recall our camera drones to finish their scheduled recharge.
Is that going to be it? Oh.
By blocking wave activity, the barrier reef creates a wide lagoon behind it. The placid water stretches for several kilometers before being overtaken by a mangrove forest. Parts are so shallow that they become exposed to air at low tide.
Oh, that's cool.
At high tide, other areas are deep enough for a troublesome young whale to get lost in.
Hermit crab?
His friends weren't adventurous enough to follow him today. And for good reason, as our whale realizes once the water level starts to drop again.
He'll be
There's no
beached.
time to play with the locals. The outgoing seawater feeds to several deep channels. Whisked through the trenches, our whale rides the rip current to safety, with no control over where it's taking him. After a lengthy ride, he
Almost
spat out
died.
far from where he began. This is the end of the Great Reef. It's exposed and dangerous territory, but our whale can't help himself from having a look around. There's a sudden realization that he's being watched.
By a shark. The same
Something is
shark.
stirring within the cave behind him. It's another Brillo whale. Our whale approaches, but there is no friendly greeting.
I was having an idea that maybe what happens next is, as he's out here in an adventurous, basically no man's land, he finds what he's been looking for to start his own garden.
This isolated loner is an exile from the herd. Banishment is reserved for excessive violence against fellow Brillos. Most likely it was a mating joust that escalated to fatal combat. A deteriorated mental state from years of isolation is what has made him truly dangerous. Our Brillo can understand that a noiseless approach signals an attack. He whistles another greeting.
Hey dog, what's up? You good?
It's met with an oppressive silence. The crown of a shark's jaw attests to this whale's staggering strength. But his secret weapon lies inside the crow's nest atop his hardened armor. The Vorpix octopus wakes when it senses a kill is imminent. He serves the role of a hunting partner who swims in advance. Usually it latches over the eyes of prey and attacks with its serrated beak. But when prey is so pitifully weak, he prefers to spectate.
Changing
Our whale
colors
is
too.
far from being scared. He's experiencing a whole other emotion. He knows. This was unexpected. Abandoning caution, the calf sings and plays like he's found a new friend. He goes in for a nuzzle and the harsh exterior cracks. How long has it been since the old-timer experienced any warmth of companionship? Maybe having a little apprentice killer won't be so bad. He grunts, struggling to remember a song that isn't also a threat. This isn't the scene of bloodshed that the octopus wanted. It seems he's witnessed this cycle once before, as he knows what must be done.
This animal is negligibly senescent, meaning it expresses no evidence of biological aging. It's one of the only long-lived cephalopods that has not been culled. Our researchers suspect this octopus to be at least 4 centuries old, and cephalopods who survive so long possess a devious intelligence.
The Vorpix presents our whale with a living piece of the armor plating. A quick feel for the soft spot. And the deed is done. When the young whale wakes up, the implant will already have sprouted roots to hold firmly fixed in his skin. With this major milestone now documented, the mobile lab departs and will not rejoin the whale again until his adulthood. Implants will continue to transmit information about his physical development for a 20-year remote observation period. Wow. This also ends the documentary team's access to the whale and concludes the first phase of our project. For us, raw data is far less compelling than first-hand observation of his body being reconstructed. 20 years is a long time for impatient humans to wait. When we do meet our whale again, it is hard to guess now what we might find. All the changes he experiences over 2 decades will be witnessed in a single moment. It should be nothing short of a complete metamorphosis.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
This concludes South Scrimshaw Part 1. Please keep designated channels open for the transmission of Part 2.
It's not open yet. Not there yet. Oh, free sounds. Oh, that's cool. Thanks. Wow. That is incredible. Public domain recordings. Yeah, that is... Wow. Okay. Okay. So, my thoughts on this. South Scrimshaw is an excellent depiction of hypothetical evolutionary, like, stuff going on. I forget the exact term that I used before. But yeah, like, hypothetical evolution is so very fascinating. I know I talked about, like, the All Tomorrows in the last episode of how that's kind of, oh, that's cool, like the DNA sequence, that's cool. About how that took a more surreal approach and a more almost like kind of parody approach. This takes a more realistic approach, but also taking its own hand into like kind of sci-fi feel of it, because it's not like supernatural or whatever. It's not like Subnautica or so on, where it's all like fantastical. It's explained through the whole idea of interplanetary curation for these species to occur. That's so fascinating. That's incredible. That is so creative of an idea, and it's an actual real hypothesis of what's going on. And I like how they worked with that into this idea of the Scrimshaw, you know, of the colony, of all sorts of stuff with the Brillo. It's incredible, and I really can't wait to see what part 2 comes out with it. I would love to see more about this Chrono 7 like expedition, specifically. I think, is this on Earth 2, Gaz, or Aria? I don't know exactly which one South Scrimshaw is, like the archipelago is at, but I would love to see more. I'd love to see more, especially with how they can make something look familiar yet different. Absolutely fantastic. But if you guys want to see more, subscribe down below to see more, and hit the bell to be notified of every single time that I upload in the future. While you're down there, let me know your thoughts on South Scrimshaw. Do you enjoy this? Do you enjoy this like hypothetical evolution and what this game, or well, graphic novel, no, visual novel is trying to go for? I certainly do. I can't wait to see more of it. But yeah, let me know down there, and while you're down there, hit the like button and hit the bell, all that sort of stuff. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.